Hello! This is another installment of Movies You Should Have Seen, except in this one, it's a movie that you should not have seen. I will be talking about the divisive film directed by Zack Snyder and produced by Christopher Nolan called The Man of Steel. Stay tuned after the cut. Okay then, as usual, we will be dividing this into story, graphics, music, and then finally an overview. But after the overview, I'll be going into my thoughts. So let's get it started. The storyline is nothing new. We've seen this storyline before in Richard Donner's Superman 2, combined with the first Superman movie from, the 70s with Christopher Reeve. So we know the story. We all know, Krypton's gonna explode and Jor-El and his wife Laura figure out that it's gonna explode, so they take their son and they put him in a little rocket ship and send him to Earth. We've seen this story before. Now, there's a few added caveats to it. For one thing, they changed the reason Krypton is going to explode is because the core of the planet is unstable. I mean, just normal comic exposition, General Zod is still the asshole we always loved, but the actor playing him is just god-awful, and I'll get into that further in. So basically, Superman comes to Earth, he's adopted by the Kents, raised by the Kents, except now he has to hide his powers all the time. And basically the Kents, he sees his father die, and in a tornado, not the heart attack from the original, a fucking tornado, which, anyway, so basically, Kal-El, because they fuck up the name. I'm gonna call him what he's originally supposed. How his name is supposed to be pronounced. Clark Kent, aka Kal-El, son of Jor-El. Kal-El basically, they changed the continuity of the Superman mythos around a bit. So, he goes to the Antarctic because he feels a signal from the ship, but it's not his ship. It's a colony ship. And basically it sets off a signal which releases the prisoners from the Phantom Zone. They got that right, but they fucked up the Phantom Zone, which include General Zod and all of his little Kryptonian crew members. They find Kal-El's ass. They find Earth. They're going to turn Earth into a new Krypton, but in order to do that, they have to destroy the Earth, all the Earthlings, and just completely fuck up everything. They'll do this through these world machines, which Superman destroys, Kal-El destroys, and basically, he basically kills as many Kryptons, leaving only Zod, and they have a big fight out where Superman winds up snapping, twisting Zod's neck, and killing him. That's the story. Well, not entirely. In between all of this, he meets Lois Lane, who figures out that he's Superman early on, and just, it's so... Oh god, the story of this movie made me feel so dirty. And not in a good way. Okay then, sorry for the interruption. Someone rang my doorbell and I had to go check and see who it was. Wrong door. As the header says, it's a shit happens interruption. So basically the story is blah. I mean, we've seen this story before. We've seen this story so many times that, like, did we have to go over this story again? I mean, really, did we have to go over this story again? And the answer is no, we did not. But what the hell? Which leads to the graphics, the graphical, the cinematography, which will be after the cut. Okay, I'm back, and now it's time for the graphics. Basically, the graphics in this film, it's spectacle, but there's no purpose to it, okay? It opens up on Krypton. We see Krypton in a way we've never seen it before, but, like, there's nowhere to go from there. I mean, there's nothing worth seeing. Krypton looks alien, but not in a useful way. The suits, the suit that Zod wears looks like shit. The suit that Superman wears in this film also looks like shit. I mean, basically, graphically, this film is not very... What's the word I'm looking for? Is not a... I mean, it's not a... The graphics are impressive, and it's like top-of-the-line cinematography and CGI and costume design, but the choices they made to get to this point is like, blah. It's not very impressive. The other graphical thing is that no one really, like, the actors that they got to play the characters really, like, aside from a few people, like, okay, Lawrence Fishburne as Perry Washington, the editor of the Daily Planet, I guess that's okay. The chick who plays Lois Lane is kind of annoying. I'm sorry. The guy who plays General Zod. Jesus. Let me put it this way. He's no Terrence Stamp. Okay. I still say the Terrence Stamp Zod was much better from Superman 2. Much better as General Zod. And now for the Man of Steel himself, the dude who plays Kal-El, son of Jor-El, Clark Kent. He's not terrible as Superman, but he's not good either. Like, I mean, he's not good, he's not terrible, he's generic. He's generic Superman, okay? Generic Man of Steel, generic Superman. Not really, I mean, you know, nothing special. Kevin Costner as Jonathan Kent is decent, does a decent performance. The only bright spot in this entire film is the lady who plays Martha Kent. She plays her role admirably as Clark's mother. And that's a good thing. But as I said, graphically speaking, the movie is, I mean, I didn't see this movie in theaters. I saw it in my man cave on my huge big screen TV in my basement, so maybe if I'd seen it in the theater with surround sound, which I have surround sound in my basement. I have stereo in the ceiling. stereo systems. It's 5.1 Dolby surround sound. So, I mean, it sounds really good. But, I mean, this is just some sad shit. It's, graphically, it's just blah. It's a blah, blah, blah. Graphically, you know, it's there. Next up is music. Music. The music of this movie. What can I say about the music of this movie? Okay, Hans Zimmer, the dude who did the soundtrack for The Lion King and the soundtrack for the Dark Knight trilogy, the Batman trilogy, did the music for this film. And I'm going to say the same thing I said about the Dark Knight trilogy. We already have theme songs for Batman and Superman. We didn't need Hans Zimmer doing any of the any of the music for these films, because, frankly speaking, if you put a gun to my head and said, "Hum the theme song to Man of Steel," you'd have to shoot me. I'd be dead, because it's so forgettable. Okay? There's nothing inspirational, recognizable, or epic, or iconic about this film's music. I mean, it's basically, it's like they went into the archives and got generic music A, B, C, B-roll, and then spliced it into the film. It's very blah. I mean, there's, you know, I mean, like, here's the thing. If I was Superman, if I was playing Superman, you know, let's say they made an alternate version of Superman that was a black guy. If I was playing Superman, I'd be listening to John Williams' Superman March all the time to get me pumped up to play Superman. This film, Jesus, the music, oh God. Just, really? Really? Seriously? Oh God. The music is very forgettable. It's very boring, very blah, very generic. I won't say it was mediocre. If you were in the movie theater and you paid normal prices to go see this, it probably seemed great at the time. I saw mine in my basement with a Blu-ray, so surround sound, so it sounded pretty good, but still not memorable. So that's the music. Next, we'll get into the overview and rant, because it's gotta be said. Okay then, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the overview and the rant. And yes, I'm combining these two because they need to be combined. Okay, overall, this film. This movie came out in the summer of 2013, the summer of 2013. It's a perfectly good summer movie to see, you know. My local movie theater has matinee prices at $7, so if you want to just waste like 2.5, 3 hours of your time, it's a perfect movie to watch. If you are a Superman, DC Comics Superman fan, don't watch this film. It's god awful. Oh God. If you want to watch a good superhero movie, don't watch this film. It's god awful. If you absolutely have to watch a Superman movie, absolutely have to watch a Superman movie, go watch the first two movies, director's cut versions from Richard Donner, Superman and Superman 2. The director's cut, not the studio released wide release cinematic worldwide release. The director's cut that has Richard Donner's original version, which, spoiler alert, Superman doesn't kill Zod. He merely takes his powers away from him, and they throw his ass in jail. So now he's just a normal dude, and the other two people with him. So yeah, Superman didn't kill. Now, in the second movie, I know, it's amazing. Superman didn't kill anyone. But anyway, the overview. On with the overview. Now to deal with the hardest thing to deal with in this film. And this is a spoiler, so if you don't like it, too bad. I'm going through with it. Superman kills Zod at the end of the movie, and a lot of people were angry about that. And I frankly was less angry about them killing Zod than the fact that like it wasn't like killing Zod was like the period on a whole sentence of bad errors they made in this entire film. Starting from why did they make it in the first damn place, and culminating with killing Zod. Basically, for lack of a better word, this movie did not need to be made. The thing you have to realize is that Superman is an American icon. It's not just a comic book character. Like Spider-Man is a comic book character. The Incredible Hulk is just kind of a comic book character. Captain America, Superman, Batman, these characters are American icons, okay? They're iconic, okay? Like, you hear the Superman march, like, you just know, that's Superman. You hear the Danny Elfman Batman theme song, you say, oh, that's Batman, okay? You know, Spider-Man's a pop icon. He's not as much of a, he's partially an American icon, but he's also a pop icon. We do not need gritty reboots of Superman. Like, we didn't need this. This was unnecessary. I mean, and here's the thing. If Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan wanted to do a gritty reboot of Superman, instead of taking the, blue-red and blue and red Superman that we all grew up with, they could have gone back to Superman's roots. He would have been much weaker, but he would have been, if they wanted to go dark and gritty, he started out dark and gritty. They could have gone with the old school Superman, the yellow and red, the yellow suit with a red cape and a red S on his chest. And basically, this Superman was not all powerful like Superman is now. Basically, like the song says, faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, can leap tall buildings in a single bound. That's all his powers were initially. Superman could run really fast, he was more powerful than a locomotive, and he could jump really far and really high. He couldn't fly, and bullets didn't really hurt him. I mean, but basically, like, he wasn't like this, oh, I make a new power every other week. Ha ha ha! They could have gone with that Superman, because that Superman was kind of a douche. Like, he, in one of the old school comics, like, this dude was beating his wife, and Superman beat the shit out of him. And, a lady was a Black Widow. She'd marry rich men and kill them for their money. And, like, Superman figured it out and worked it out and threw her in jail, and she got the electric chair, and he was like, haha, take her to the electric chair. He was kind of an asshole. We can have this Superman. What we do not need is Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan turning Superman into a fucking pussy. Because that's what they did. They turned one of the most iconic and powerful DC superheroes into a fucking pussy. Congratulations, Christopher Nolan. And Zack Snyder. Congratulations. Congratulations. You turned arguably the most powerful DC superhero into a fucking pussy. Congratulations. Congratulations. You know what? I wish I had a ton of money so I could go to England and buy the rights to Doctor Who and fuck him over just to screw with Christopher Nolan like he did Superman. Like, I know, I'd make Doctor Who, I'd get rid of the telephone booth and give him a spaceship, because fuck that, he's gonna get a spaceship. I'd make him into a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, I'd make him into a woman with 2 big-ass machine guns instead of a sonic screwdriver, and you know, I'd make her smoke cigars and have a beret and wear really short skirts that you can see almost everything in, and I'd make it rated R so she could go around giving blowjobs to people. And see how you like it, Christopher Nolan. But let's move that to the side. Why was this movie made? Even though I earlier said that this movie did not need to be made. There was no reason for this movie to be made. This movie was not made for the Superman fans. This movie was not made for DC comic fans. This movie was made because Warner Brothers and DC saw what Marvel has been doing with their movies, and they basically desperately want to do what Marvel and Disney are doing, but they don't have they don't have the balls to do it. They haven't set the groundwork for it. So now they're desperately trying to get these movies out in order to catch up. It's funny to see them, because WB could have done this. They could have done this, but they never gave it what it should have had. Like, we've seen these stories before. We've seen Superman fight Lex Luthor. They have like 3 entire fucking movies with him fighting Lex Luthor. Well, 2 movies. Well, no, 3. Superman 1, Superman 2. Both of them have Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. And Superman Returns. 3 movies, Lex Luthor. How many times do we have to go with Lex Luthor? Seriously. Okay, so then we have General Zod twice, Superman 2, and Man of Steel. We don't need. Okay, they tried to lay the groundwork with the Batman trilogy. I will tell you why those movies are wrong in another video for Batman. But it's just not. They're desperately trying to. Warner Brothers desperately wants to desperately do their Justice League movie. If I was Warner Brothers, I would slow it down and do it right. It's much better to slow it down and make a high quality movie and make sure shit is done right than just throw some shit together. But that's what they've been doing. Yeah. And now they're making Batman versus Superman. Oh God, Jesus. Save your money. My final conclusion for Man of Steel is this. Save your money. Don't watch this movie. If you absolutely have to watch a Superman movie, there's a whole bunch of excellent DC Comics animated films that have Superman in them. Or you can go and watch the animated Adventures of Superman. Or you can go and watch Superman 1 and 2, directed by Richard Donner. Do not watch this movie. It's terrible. Save yourself the heartbreak and go watch something good. In the description field, if you've seen this movie, I will leave a link to the Superman March by John Williams, because God knows this movie could have done with something that would have elevated from being generic to being awesome. But no, Christopher Nolan put in a word for his friend Hans Zimmer, and we got his shitty tunes for this film. So listen to that after you watch this, and listen to the real Superman theme song.